You've got experience working with more than 50 B2B SaaS companies like Moz. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see companies making with their messaging from the outside looking in and someone who spends a lot of time focused on positioning and messaging? There is an awful lot of confusing, generic, undifferentiated messaging. And I wonder, how could a company operate like that in an ultra competitive landscape? How could the head of marketing or the CEO live with messaging that doesn't differentiate, doesn't motivate or inspire prospects to check out what they're doing? Instead, they're running with one hand tied behind their back. You can run, but certainly not as fast. Why do they struggle with bad messaging? Is it ignorance? Is it they don't care? Do they think that their product is good enough? What are the reasons behind bad messaging?
It's a great question. It's very nuanced, contrary to what a lot of people think. You mentioned, are they passionate about their products, their messaging? It's actually the opposite. A lot of my clients are super passionate about their products, whether it's the marketing department, sales, or the founder, especially. I think the main problems that I'm seeing, it's first, there's a lack of alignment between teams, whether it's sales teams, marketing, founder, sometimes support as well. There's a lack of alignment in terms of messaging. I can tell you an example of this that happened recently. So I've been working with this SaaS based in France, but they recently got acquired by the private equity firm. You can imagine someone comes in, basically buys them out. Now you have two completely different teams that need to synchronize and agree on how to say what they do and for who they do it. Our job as messaging experts, copywriters, it's to come in and show them and have all their knowledge bubble up to the surface so that everyone in the team realizes, oh, is this really what we're about? This is the way that we should say it. Because otherwise, teams have a hard time communicate. Someone says what they do in a completely different way than someone else. So you need that kind of alignment internally. Another reason, which actually stemmed from this, is they don't have a clear positioning and messaging strategy. A lot of people think about copywriting as just, okay, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to write, or I'm going to use this brand voice guidelines, and that's done. But the thing is, unless you do the work at the surface, which is the positioning strategy, which is basically saying what you do, who you do it for, and how you do it in a unique, better, differentiated way. Unless you know that, everyone in the team knows that, and unless you turn all of that into a messaging framework, which is how then you say all of it, writing copy, it's impossible. Or you're just guessing, or you're just prompting ChatGPT asking, hey, write me this landing page. I think that what a lot of companies are doing nowadays. They need that kind of foundational work. Another reason is they're copying competitors. It happen a lot of times when I jump into new projects. For example, in a very crowded space, the data integration quality space, this company, I jumped in and they showed me, okay, this is our V1 beta messaging that we think of using. Then I go and look at all their competitors. We usually do a competitor analysis to contrast the different messaging. It was exactly the same claims. Then we going into the positioning and messaging work that I've described before, that's when you actually realize, okay, all of the other competitors are saying the same thing. So how are we different? Finally, probably one last mistake that I see them making, it's that they're, even if they have a good positioning messaging strategy, that's set in stone, which means that they don't rework it when there are certain triggers. You should typically revisit, rework your positioning messaging strategy either when there's a major market change or maybe new competitors pop up, or you have a product pivot that you want to look into and adjust for, or worst case, like every 6 to 12 months, you should probably revisit your strategy.